Hi everybody, my name's Rob Bashforth. I'm pleased as punch to be contributing to today. Merry Christmas to you all, Happy New Year to all. Dig deep today, try and support what is the wonderful cause of WORLDwrite, who've done such splendid work for such a long time, especially around areas to do with the theme of the day, freedom. I've chosen today to do a poetry reading. It's a poem by a very young person called John Gillespie Magee. It's quite well known in military circles, this poem, and very popular, and rightly so. But often I find that people outside those circles are not as familiar with it, and I hope very much that that's true today, in which case, you know, you may be in for a rare treat, and that'd be lovely. I've got a little bit of background information about John Gillespie Magee. Here's a picture of the man, looking bright and young in that picture. The blurb says, an Anglo-American aviator and poet, Magee served in the Royal Canadian Air Force, which he joined before the United States entered the war. He died in a mid-air collision over Lincolnshire in 1941. He was only 20 years old. He was sent to England from the Royal Canadian Air Force to test fly a Supermarine Spitfire Mark V with the 412 fighter squadron. So it was very much, you know, leading technology at the time. His colleagues and peers in later life have said that John was an absolute natural. You know, he just took to flight, he took to aviation, and he could, you know, do it effortlessly as though he was born to it. After a high altitude test flight one day, John wrote his parents a letter and enclosed a poem, this one, that this test flight had inspired. He was unfortunately killed tragically a very few months later when his plane collided with that of another British military pilot. I have a picture of John in the cockpit of one of his aeroplanes. I have a little Google map of Sleaford in Lincolnshire, near RAF Cranwell, where much of this occurred. And there is a picture of his monument, still in a little village called Scoppick, very close to Sleaford. And a very nice thing about that is a little parade occurs still annually to this day, jointly with Canadian and British Air Force people. This one here is the actual parchment that the poem was written on. It's on that very flimsy, transparent envelope material, and the writing, as you can see, is extremely faded, so much so that there is still a little bit of dispute about some of the words in the poem. So, without further ado, this is High Flight by John Gillespie Magee, 1941. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark or ever eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. Beautiful stuff. As a little postscript, some people have spoken about hypoxia, which is oxygen starvation, and it's something that John wrote about in elsewhere in his notebooks and letters. And he could well have experienced this on his test flights until he descended below 10,000 feet, where the air becomes more breathable. Hypoxia is well known to produce sensations of elation, and out-of-body experiences and things like that. Now, being an old romantic, I'm not so keen on that theory as it happens. I prefer to just think of it as pure exhilaration, you know, in the moment, just, you know, finding that, you know, ecstatic experience, you know, through, you know, something you're doing yourself. So there it is, High Flight by John Gillespie Magee, and I hope you can see why I've called it sometimes the impulse for freedom can be found in the most unexpected places. That's great to see you all. Thanks for joining in, thanks for all the contributions. Dig deep, everybody, let's make it a good one, especially for all the fantastic team down there at WORLDwrite. Hopefully when this awful lockdown ends, we'll be able to meet up in person. I look forward very much to seeing you there. Bye.